this moment for whatever their reasons. And a lot of them, I think, are it's like, listen, dude, if it was the Iran war, if that's what got you off of, Trump's coattails, if it was the Epstein files, to me, it's, too little too late, but at least you came to the conclusion that we've all, held for the better part of a decade plus. That being said, I also think that we should be doing absolutely everything we can, not just to rid the country of Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is really an insignificant player when it comes to the MAGA movement. We need to be doing everything that we can to rid ourselves of the MAGA movement, destroy the MAGA movement, destroy its political foothold in the Republican Party. God knows what's going to be left after that happens. But I do believe in a two-party system in this country. I'll probably never vote Republican for the rest of my life because of the betrayal that I've experienced at their hands. But I think we need to do everything we can. I think we need to impeach. We need to tackle affordability issues. We need to go after voting rights. I think we should be going after some of these Supreme Court justices that clearly lied to us, the American people, in their hearings when they said that things like Roe v. Wade and the Voting Rights Act were settled law. Well, clearly they weren't because they just tore both of those to shreds. And I think it's time that, find time in this country that people started experiencing accountability, the accountability that should have taken place in the aftermath of the Civil War. But the American people, the American government shit the bed. We allowed the Confederates to hold office again, which brought us Jim Crow. Fast forward to, decades of the civil rights movement in which, thousands, tens of thousands of Americans lost their lives fighting for equal rights. And now just to have that be gutted by 6 Supreme Court justices who are, more beholden to this political movement than they are to the American people and to the rule of law and the Constitution is disgusting. And I think we should do everything that we can. Every American should do everything that they can to rid America of this disease.
How did you say you felt about the 3-time voters of Trump again?
I hate them. I got a lot of room in my heart for hating people.
Okay.
I hate them.
Okay, stand by. I want you to listen to this. Roll it, Andy.
Let's take a listen to one more woman who we spoke with. If you could say something to President Trump and he was going to hear you right now, what would it be?
You are a worthless pile of
And you voted for him how many times?
3 times. That was my bad. Apparently, I'm an idiot.
Indeed.
I would say that both of them are worthless piles of shit. But that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, it's odd. I don't feel that way about those voters. I don't feel that way necessarily about humans who are not in a position of power in order to go from prejudice to racism. I have experienced up close what some of those voters think about, and they're not all like the MAGA brand voters. And the ones who put their own business interests or that of their employees, that of their companies ahead of my interests, my ability to vote, or any other woman's interest in bodily autonomy, those are real things. But I think my one bit of pushback, Michael, on the getting rid of MAGA is MAGA did not stack the Supreme Court. Republicans did. It was far before there was a MAGA movement, far before Trump was the president. It's been a quarter century in the making to get this court that we have now. The Chief Justice, current Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, went to school with my children. I know that man personally, and personally he's a decent person. But the things that he's doing with this court,
is he though?
Will go into infamy. And that is what I am saying. And I think we need to also understand this moment in that way, that there are people that we, for this period of time, are going to have common interests.
Oh,
And
listen,
they are not going to be permanent friends, but we are going to have common interests. And the CBC talks about that all the time, because my interests remain permanent. My interest for the betterment of Black people, for the betterment of all people, for fair wages, for healthcare, for all of the things. But when I look at Clarence Thomas getting on the court, or when I look at the way that the court was stacked, there are people who many people I know, presidents they voted for, who put those people on the court.
no, I agree with you. I mean,
And some of them might be on the screen with me right now. And I don't hold that against you, but it got us here, you know? And so that's why I said there is a history of systemic racism in this country, and a history of political parties and processes using things that people care about and making promises about every man having a vote and raising yourself up by your bootstraps and is the economy stupid, and all of these things fold into where we landed. To me, Trump is a product of it.
no,
He did put 3 justices on the court, though. I mean, he got 3. Yeah.
And listen, you know, MAGA is a coalition. I think that, you know, going back decades before MAGA existed, like you said, and you know, and rightfully so, racism was still an undercurrent within the Republican Party, which resulted in the appointment of these justices. But, you know, where I would push back is, you know, and I would say about Chief Justice Roberts, having been a part of this decision, I mean, for all intents and purposes, leading this decision, I can't honestly say that I think he's a good person. To disproportionately affect so many Americans, essentially, I mean, really, let's just call it what it is, because of the color of their skin, I think is despicable. It's disgusting. And I don't think that Justice Roberts is a moral and ethical person. I think he's a racist. And
I didn't say all those things. I said a decent person up close. And I think there are a lot of people that when you get one-on-one with them, in order to have a conversation, you realize, oh, wow, and there's my son. Happy Autism Awareness Month, y'all. He's making his debut.
Also, you know, Monique, the other thing I would say to you is that
Bye.
A first for the Don Lemon Show.
I have had too many very personal experiences with MAGA. I mean, and it has brought me to the position that I'm in now. That's why I would never run for office, because I think that politicians need to represent everybody, and I would never be able to represent people who, you know, participated in the MAGA movement, not just once, but twice, 3 times, especially after I almost lost my life on January 6th, and then spent the better part of the next 5 years trying to convince people that it actually happened. And having, you know, my mother attacked vehemently at the hands of these people. I just, there's no room in my heart for forgiveness, compassion, or empathy. Not to say that they don't deserve it. They certainly deserve it from other Americans, but they're not going to get it from me.
Yeah.